Very glad you could join us. Good morning to you. This is Off the Press at Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike. I have with me this morning to take a look at the headlines, Bolahon Olujide, Public Affairs Analyst. Pleasure to have you join us.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
What's your expectation for the ministerial screening that begins today, before we get to the papers?
Well, I watched 4 years ago a similar exercise, and there's no big deal, other than you get to know a little bit more about these individuals. There are many of them that are just names to a lot of people. You don't even know who these people are. So that sort of gives you a peek into their resume, what they've done before, where they've been before. And it helps.
Yeah,
because there might be some wrong judgment in the minds of people about who are these people now. But by the time they come out and they read the profile and you engage with them, you watch the engagement
make an
with
assessment.
them. You can make your own
assessment.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed on that one. We'll start with the Punch newspaper this morning. And nominees, of course, as if I saw it already, ministerial list, nominees incompetent, lack fresh ideas, PDP, ASU, TMG, a lot of lashing there. And then you have the three writers to the story, Akpabio, Saraki, and others make list. Kachuku, others dropped, and 13 others dropped. Buhari picks Imo lawmaker who dumped APC. Ministerial nominees list is also captured on the front page. On the side, you see it there with the blue head tag. All right, we also have don't test our will to act. Buhari wants Shiite. 3 die as container falls of chalk in Ogun. Kwara revokes Charlotte bought by Saraki. Soldiers murder. Troops invade Bielsa community, raise houses. We also have, we made Jack Conde serve on the Abacha, says Oshoba. 8 construction workers die in Enugu underground water tank. And then let's see what's at the top of the paper. Of course, just beside the mast head, you will see Boris Johnson takes over as British Prime Minister today. 2019 elections, U.S. imposed visa restrictions on culpable Nigerians. Who might these be? Well, you have to go read details up on page 15 of the paper. And please go after Ondo headsmen, vigilantes. OPC talks tough. That's FG plans aerial surveillance of southwest forests. That's where they allege these people are hiding. We have 3-scale CBN screening. Get new banking license. Okay, that's page 30 of the paper. A little bit of money matters there. On the back page of the Punch, we have Nigeria dropped the AFCFTA ball. Mixed reactions as Dalong, ministerial nominees, mixed reactions trailed Dalong's exclusion. There were lots of memes online yesterday when the list came. Yes, about him. All right, well, which of these would you want to pick on first before we go to other papers?
Maybe we can start with the comment from PDP, ASU, and TMG about the list. When I saw the list too, I was a little bit taken aback. Because I expected that if we had waited this long, we've been waiting. Election was concluded in February. We knew the president as far back as February. And inauguration happened in May. If this was going to be the list, we could have had it on May 30th. That's the question. These are all predominantly politicians that we have known. We've seen 12 of them are from the previous administration. Somewhere, about 8 of them were like governors or so there are known faces. So if these were going to be the people, why did we have to wait from May to July for it to happen? On May 30th, this list could have come out. That's the truth. And on the point that PDP and ASU and a lot of people were raising, I see a reason with them. A lot of people were expecting some excitement. You want to see some new names. You want to see, oh, this was the best guy in finance, and we've headhunted him around the world and we're bringing him. That's not a politician. So that person, if you headhunt a technocrat to come and head a particular role that you feel is critical to your government, people were expecting things like that, but there was nothing. It was just politicians and politicians. That comes with some problems.
And what are these?
politicians are always under a lot of pressure from their constituencies, from their political affiliations left and right, from the people who put them there sometimes. So they're always under those kind of pressure. And it may hinder their capacity to serve, because while the interest should be to serve the people, sometimes the interest of those other interests could be contradictory
to the interest of the people.
And they have to balance this thing. That's why they are politicians.
Well, at least we'll get to see how incompetent, in quotes, they are when
competent.
Competent, yeah, again, in quotes, they are when they appear before the Senate screening.
And there are names there that when you say, who is this person? People who were there in the last administration. There's a particular gentleman, I've asked everybody I met, what position was this guy in the last administration? They couldn't remember.
Yes, somebody.
Yes. And he's back in this administration. So he did not do anything. He was not known to have done anything for 4 years. But he's back on this list.
Well, let's see. Sometimes the government says that what they do is not brought out to the media a lot of times. So we don't know that these people are actually working really hard in the background.
We should
take down with the grain.
If it's impacting us, we should know.
All right, the Nation newspaper, Aregbesola Fashola Onu of this on ministerial list. Of course, that's going to be all it is on the front page of the papers, all about the ministerial list this morning. We also have some of them on the front page here. And passengers injured as Air Peace plane loses tire. That's the sad occurrence yesterday. We're just glad that no life was lost. Yeah. You know, it's not something tragedy we'll want to talk about, but a lot of Nigerians are asking for a thorough investigation into the situation, so we don't have a repeat of that. Dignitaries honor Jakande at 90. That's a former Lagos State Governor. We also have Buhari won Shiite as 2 more die. Panel to review Morsu's contracts. Boris Johnson is British Prime Minister. NNPC secures $3.15 billion for OML 13. CBN to impose forex restriction on milk. And that's a little bit of sports for you also on the front page. On the back page of the Nation, we have this one that says re-genocidal headers and the siege of Odua land. The limits of judicial fraud, that's another one for you. Thinking about tomorrow. Your thoughts?
Okay, just a quick one on that front page. I think for me as an individual, I like the fact that Fashola is back in this, because I think he has unfinished jobs. I don't believe that he has not. I think he has made tremendous effort, which a little bit of payoff has started to come in, but there is more to be done. And my fear is that if you cut that short and bring in a fresh person, we might be starting from the beginning all over again. So I like that bit. CBN to impose forex restriction on milk. My concern with that is okay if we're saying we want to use that to encourage local production. After all, I think Nigeria has maybe the 3rd largest herd of cattle in Africa. That's a whole lot. But up till now, those cattle are not in a structured form that we could deploy into a commercial level of milk production that can meet the needs of the society as it is today. So the question is it the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken? Now, which one came first? Or which one should come first? So are we going to first of all ban the milk and then come back in-house and start looking for how to make the cows that we have to produce the milk and meet the demands of the society? Or we should first of all position that industry to be able to meet the need we have locally before we say, stop bringing this milk in. It's neither here nor there, but there must be a balance. And it's not just about executive fiat. It doesn't solve problems. That is the truth.
This story about Buhari warning Shiites After 2 more were killed.
Yesterday. So I read in one of the papers that 2 people were killed again yesterday. See, this Shiite problem, the one of Monday, the question I've asked myself over and over again is that, was it that we didn't see it coming? We saw it coming. We saw a protest in which these people went into the National Assembly, even seized rifles from security men. So we cannot say we didn't see it coming. We knew that what happened on Monday, we were going to get to that junction from the series of events that has been happening. So my question is, why did we wait until it happened? And lives were lost. Further lives were lost yesterday. So we must be asking ourselves, is it not irresponsible that this should continue? What must we do to stop it? And guess what? The buck for all of that stops.
The desk of the president.
On the president's table. And he just has to do something about it.
Yeah, well, there are those, the presidency has come out to say that it's not within his purview at the moment.
That is in the court.
That matter is in court. So the Shiite should exercise patience and wait. And I think the next court date is July 29.
Yes, I think it's also, which is part of why I think there could be discussion, apart from discussing with people on the pages of newspapers. This man was arrested in 2015. So the question is, when did the court process start? 2018. You know, so there's something not transparent about the way the court process has been going on. And there's the issue of the fact that bails were actually granted by some courts in this same country. I'm not saying release this man because I don't have basis for making that kind of a judgment. I don't know what intelligence report they have, so I can't make that judgment. It is also possible that this man has been established by virtue of intelligence report to be a threat to national security. It's possible. But then, there are ways to go about this. There are legal ways to go about it, to establish. It's not, the executive cannot be the judge and the jury in his own case. So, get the judiciary to establish formally that this man is a threat to national security. And they can say, hold him till whatever they want you to hold him. But as long as we leave that as a gray area, we're toying with fire.
All right, let's see what the Vanguard has this morning. Expectedly, we have the ministerial nominees list also here. Let's look at how they're taking it. New faces as Senate pledges stiff screening. Well, we're going to see that starting today. Okay. Details is on page 5 of the paper. That's it on your screen. The faces of the returnees and the new entrant. Akpabio is trending. We also have the case of Festus Keyamo. He's going to be a minister in this country now. And Lai Mohammed is back. We haven't had his voice in a few months now. Some people actually say they missed him. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know what it means about him. I don't think what he was doing, I mean, this is a personal opinion, is a modern way to go about
being a minister of information.
Honestly, if I had my way, I would have someone like Keyamo take that role.
Position.
Keyamo comes to the table with a lot more facts when he's talking. So he just doesn't bulldoze his ways, you know, into the public space. He comes with fact and is articulate when he's doing that. And I think he will make a better person.
I think he was a spokesman for the presidential campaign team or thereabouts. So who knows? Let's see. They've not attached portfolios yet. Maybe. We'll get to find out maybe a little later. Yes. All right. We have another headline here. Oshibanjo, Tinubu, Oshoba, others eulogize Jakonde's virtue at 90. Nigeria celebrating one of its foremost governors. We also have reps to Buhari El-Rufai. Don't release El-Zakzaki on court orders. Shiites continue protest in Abuja. There's something peculiar. I mean, we'll get to other headlines, but there's something peculiar about the position of the House of Representatives. From what we can read, because we weren't actually at plenary, what we can read is that some persons raised the issue, and then there was some kind of argument, and then they went to a closed-door session, and then they came back 30 minutes later, and everybody's saying, no, 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 no. I mean...
You see, there was one of the members who raised the fact that the government should release him.
And this is not the first time that was raised in the House. So what changed yesterday?
So they probably had a discussion and changed their mind about that line of thought. If you flash back to what I said a few minutes ago, if you don't have information, don't make those kind of judgments. There are reports that are not everybody is privy to. So you and I can stay in our rooms and say, this is this, this is this, this is that.
But why can't government trust the people with certain information when it comes, because this issue looks from all angles like the government is totally and blatantly flouting a court order.
That is what it looks like.
So and now the House of Representatives, who should be holding the government,
supporting that illegality.
There is something wrong,
you see,
and it is not right. A lot of persons would say that the government is keeping silent.
They are keeping silent. That is the truth. And you see, if you look at what happened at Guantanamo Bay, the U.S. government, the president, kept people in that place for donkey periods. But you know what happened before Bush could do that? He went to the equivalent of his own NAS and got a law in place that allowed him to keep them because they were a threat to national security. That is what you call due process. So you can keep people if you establish that they're a threat to national security. But what I think is improper, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, is that that decision should not be made by the executive. You can't be the judge and the jury in your own case. So it's the executive that is keeping him. It's the executive that is determining that that person constitutes a national threat. Why don't we have another organ of government like the National Assembly or judiciary come into that space and help to establish that keep this man?
This
because
judiciary is, I mean, it's well,
it's not a tidy thing. It's not at all.
All right, let's see other headlines here. Military investigating stolen 600 million naira operations fund, defense headquarters. That's something for you to look at. It's on page 9 of the paper. We also have FG will collaborate with Southwest monarchs to tackle insecurity. That's the Vice President speaking. Favorite Mr. and Mrs. Kachun is also there for you. If you'd like to have a little smile on your face this morning, you certainly should go read it up. We all need to smile. There's so much negativity right now. On the back page of the Vanguard, we have sports there. We'll get back. Something looks like a comedian. That's DeLong, actually. I don't know if that picture is
real or fabricated.
Or fabricated. It looks so real. Right here, I don't know if you can see, just right here. There's a picture of him. All right. Any other headline you would like to talk about quickly before we move on to the next paper?
I think just a word on Jakonde. Alhaji Lateef Jakonde left a big shoe in governance in Lagos State. There's hardly anywhere you turn and you don't see a Jakonde estate, a Jakonde school, a Jakonde whatever. And how many years ago was he a governor in Lagos State? It's something that other governors should think about. We can actually make impact on the life of the average Lagosian, much more than we are doing right now. When you flash back at what Jakonde did in Lagos, I learned that it was even during his administration that the idea of the 4th mainland bridge was conceived. So he must have had some big thinkers in that administration that made all those housing projects. There's not even the federal government, I learned, had as many housing projects as Jakonde had within that space of time.
This day newspaper has the Senate's delays recess to screen 43 ministerial nominees, begins assessment of Fashola, Amechi, Ngige, Malami, loads of names today. No land for Ruga in Edo, says Obaseki. That's the man who should know. 90 hearty cheers again to Jakonde. This day celebrates the former governor. And the House in rowdy session over calls to ban Shiites, free El-Zakzaky. Channels TV reporter for burial in Zaria. Police disperse Shiite procession in Abuja. Emefiele, no hurry to cut interest rate. CBN leaves interest rate unchanged at 13.5%. U.S. imposes visa ban on people suspected of undermining Nigeria's democracy. I'll go to the back page quickly and then rush back to the front because there's something I just need to get your thoughts on. Nuhu Ribadu is a guest columnist today, and he's talking about For the Youth, a freedom from hate. Time to Save Nigeria is another thought, a co-production of Musa and San Falana. Quickly, I need you to speak on this ban on people suspected of undermining Nigeria's democracy. How do you, that's a very bogus term, people suspected of undermining democracy. What criteria would they use? Who are these people? How does the U.S. know them?
There were U.S. observers during the election, actually. There have been a couple of major reports that were even external on the Nigerian election, and so we cannot say there are no. Then apart from the external one, there is an internal. INEC also had a comprehensive report on the last election. So there are reports to dwell on. There are also judicial issues. There are things that have appeared in the court and that have been legislated or adjudicated upon. That will also form a source of information for them to make their judgments on who could be banned or could qualify under this ban. Having said that, I will have been more excited if they will also add people who stole money. Irrespective of the fact that some of the money...
That would be half the elite in this country, many would say.
Yes. So at least if you're supposed to do a project and you did not do it, you took the money, then stay with us there and enjoy that road that you're supposed to fix and you did not fix, or the water you're supposed to provide that you did not provide. Be part of it. Let them be banned, But I think that's also a bit challenging, because where do this money end up? Over there.
I guess that's where we're going to pause things now. We will take a look at complete sports. Or there's something
I want to just make a comment on this ministerial list. I think only about 7 of the 43 were women.
Yes.
I also saw someone did a little research about the age. I didn't see anybody less than 50 or 48 in the entire list.
You're correct.
And here is a country where the median age is about 17. And everybody that is going to make a decision about those young people is already 50-something. There's a serious problem. Then there's a major challenge for gender equality as well. If only 7 out of 43 are women, is it because there are no women in the land? There are no competent women in the land? That's not real. That's not real. And it's part of the criticism that we must lay at the feet of people who build this list. It's something to think about.
All right, let's see quickly. I'm going to drag you into sports now. Complete sports is what we have next. Iheanacho scores at last. Eagle Star nets first Foxes goals since September. Ajayi debuts for Albion. Alaba fully focused on buying. That's something for you on the front page. Madrid ready to pay £150 million for Pogba. We also have Igalo out for 2 months. Barcelona 1-2 for Chelsea. Blue is the color in Japan. Griezmann, I'm ready to play anywhere. Those are some of the stories on the front page. Inter Milan pull out of Lukaku deal. Let's see what's on the back page. Of course, we have transfer centers. Anyone here that you want to speak on before we wrap things up?
I think the Madrid willing to take on
Pogba.
Pogba is a bit of an interest to me. Pogba has not really had a good time in Man U. That's the truth. Occasionally, there's a burst of energy and performance, but for the most part, it was just a high-value player with not much contribution to the team, or not much success, because sometimes the success of a player also depends on the team itself and the coach, coaching a team. Madrid offers a new opportunity for Pogba, and I wish it would, if I were him, I would be thinking along this direction.
Well, thank you very much for your thoughts today on the program. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
I guess that's where we draw the cutting this morning on Off the Press. Hope you learned a thing or two. Do go to your vendor and take a look at the headlines and read the stories in depth, so you don't go off thinking the headline is the whole story. Thanks again for your time. I'm Felicity Suzuki.